Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston Station, I am ready for the event.
CBS, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, good morning. This is CBS News. How do you hear me?
CBS Station hears you loud and clear. Welcome to the Destiny Lab.
Well, and good morning from Florida, Commander Ford. It's Peter King along with Bill Harwood. And this is our chance to wish you an early Merry Christmas, and that's a great way to start off our chat this morning. You know, everybody from year to year seems to be pretty curious about what the astronauts and cosmonauts do for Christmas aboard station, things like your meals, traditions, gifts, that sort of thing. So tell us a little bit about what's ahead.
Well, I have in my stash somewhere some things that people put in crew care packages for me that, you know, don't open till Christmas kind of thing. So I have that waiting for me. And a special treat this year is the crew of 33S Soyuz to join Expedition 34 will be launching from Kazakhstan just a few days and actually arrive about the 21st of December. So it'll be like Santa, you know, coming up the chimney when they come through the lock and arrive on board. So it'll be good to see them on board. We have some special food set aside and one of the bags for Christmas Day, and we'll have a holiday that day. So that's how we'll celebrate on board. Maybe a few decorations around. I haven't actually strung the lights outside yet. NASA hasn't let me go outside to do that.
And, of course, right after Christmas come the big college bowl games. For those who are not aware, we know that you are not just a native Hoosier, but a Notre Dame graduate. And with your school playing in the BCS championship game, I know you're looking forward to that. I'm just wondering, are you going to be able to listen to that and follow it closely in real time?
Well, Peter, nowadays we have on occasion the chance, if the data rate's low for science and that sort of thing, to get streaming video up here through NetMeeting, the same way we do video cons and this sort of thing. So it comes up to us, and we have some breaks in coverage, but I have been able to watch several of the football games this year, not just Notre Dame games, but a lot of college football games. We were watching some Navy when Sonny was up here as well. So it's a lot of fun to watch those, and I hope to be able to watch that game. I looked at the timing. It's really bad timing because it's a Monday night. It'll probably start here maybe 1 a.m. or something like that. I think it's 8 p.m. in Miami, and I'm going to be up all night watching that game. So, Houston, if you're still paying attention, I'm probably going to need Tuesday morning, January 8th off.
Well, Kevin, this is Bill Harwood at the Kennedy Space Center. You know, as a longtime SEC fan, I have to tell you there's a 9-point spread right now in favor of Bama. You feel like making any predictions for us?
Let me see. Probably not, but I do think defense is going to be a big part of that game. And I think if we can keep the scores low, we have a chance. I believe it's anybody's game. Both teams are excellent. I watched them both. I watched the Alabama-Georgia game as well. Fantastic teams. It's just it's going to be a great event, and I'm really looking forward to it. I get to spend a lot of time chattering with the people in Huntsville, and so we get to talk about it a little bit on the loops too. So it'll be a great day.
Kevin, let me change gears a little bit in one of the more jarring segues of an interview like this. Yesterday, the National Research Council came out with a report that raised some questions, or they were concerned that there's not a national consensus, as they put it, on where we're going in space. And they said that this presumed goal of going to an asteroid hasn't generated much widespread support in the public and even at NASA. And I know you haven't had a chance to read that or think about it. You're focused on your work up there. But what are your thoughts about NASA's long-term strategy? Are you a fan of the presumed asteroid program?
Well, I'm a fan of it all. I think an asteroid is a very, very challenging thing to do. There are some options on the table. There are people who are much bigger experts on it than I am. The ease of getting there, the ease of getting back. There have been some great studies at NASA with I think the RATS team and also the NEMO crew have looked at asteroid operations, and they're much better versed in the practicality of doing those sorts of things than I am. I've really been focusing on space station, racks, maintenance, and those sorts of things. But I would like to see us have, put a plan, materialize a plan, and kind of get going on it, of course. I think we all agree on that we need a good plan and we need a good target in order to move forward in the right way. So I'm looking forward to getting that out there on the table and getting moving.
It seems like, it's impossible in today's environment to have an agreement on something like Apollo. The conditions are different. We're not in a Cold War, et cetera, et cetera. But do you think it's going to be hard in this environment with the budget pressures that are out there to get the people or the public or Congress united behind a goal that will cost money down the road?
Absolutely. The technical part is very challenging. The part that I'm in, I'm an engineer and pilot, operational by background, and the operational part is very difficult in itself. Nowadays, the consensus, we know it takes a long time to get to some of these goals, and much longer than the turnover rate of politics seems to be. And so we need to put something in place that can last. This really is about doing things for people 40 years down the road, 100 years down the road, even 1,000 years down the road, and making these first steps. So it's a very challenging thing for us. It's something I'd actually be interested in working on when I come home, finding a way to get a consensus, finding a path forward and making it work. And I know there are some experts out there already working on it, but it's as big a challenge for us right now as the technical is.
Kevin, it's Peter again, and you mentioned 40 years. It was 40 years ago tomorrow that Apollo 17 launched on the very last human flight to the moon. And I think a lot of us really thought we would have gone further out in space, deep space, even back to the moon, or maybe to Mars by now. Your thoughts on that, and should we have taken a different course over the last 40 years?
Honestly, I think the course has been okay. The space shuttle we're going to look back on as an absolutely outstanding program, kind of routine access. We know it's not routine, but we found the hard parts, and we keep solving problems. It was a big flight test and development program that proved very fruitful, if you will. The space station is going to do the same thing for us for living and spending time in space. We got this one-year mission coming up with an astronaut and cosmonaut. Ours will be Scott Kelly coming aboard with Kornienko. And we're going to look at people spending longer times in space so that we can we can move on out there. I think it's just harder to go those long distances and spend a lot of time in space. It's just harder to do than kind of we envisioned. So we moved forward to the moon. Moon's kind of in our backyard. It's a great place to go back and practice if we decide to do that. But space flight is just difficult. That's all there is to it. And sometimes our eyes are bigger than our pocketbooks or than our abilities.
That's a really good point. And along those lines, right now there's a huge financial crisis in Washington, and we're less than 4 weeks from going off the so-called fiscal cliff, and that affects every government operation. I'm wondering if you have been told to get ready for any changes in operations for the space station should this actually happen at the end of the year.
I haven't really heard too much about that, to be honest. I think we've had those cliffs before, and things have worked out. I told my two cosmonaut colleagues when I came up here, be prepared for a shorter flight, be prepared for a one-year flight. You never know what could happen in terms of vehicles or finances and stuff. So, if something happens and we stay up here longer, no big deal. I think for us on board at least. I think the operations on board, they're kind of planned and budgeted well in advance. I think we'll continue the operations. We've got experiments going literally above my head and beside me, and out in the Japanese lab and in the Columbus lab, as well as Destiny here and in the Russian segment. I think those will continue and will be fruitful. That's already established.
Kevin, it's Bill Harwood again, and you mentioned the year-long flight with Scott Kelly and Kornienko, and Julie Robinson, the program scientist. We were talking about behavioral things, psychological issues, the hardships of a one-year flight, and she said one of the things that tends to offset that a little bit is it's just really cool to be up there. What's your impression of life in space that you've been up there now for a little while?
She's absolutely right. When I wake up in the morning, I'm usually a little disoriented. I'm in my sleeping bag, but I can never quite figure out which well's which. And then I realize I'm in space. I'm strapped to the wall. I have to be where I tuck myself in at night. And I float out into the module, and it's still dark because I've turned the lights off. And it's just magic being here. And I love being here every single day. I know my days are numbered here, even though I still have roughly 100 of them left. Soon enough, it'll be over, and it'll look back at it, and it'll be like a dream. Scott and Misha have both been here before. They know exactly what they're getting into. The exercise equipment is fantastic. The psychological support now we get from Houston and from Moscow are also fantastic. And I can watch football games after all. So, it's really great being here. There are certain things you miss for sure. And I think the fact that they come here knowing they're staying a year, for those two individuals, it won't be a real psychological hardship. It will be something to prove that we can do it with the right individuals and the right preparation.
Kevin, thank you so much from both of us and from CBS News, and Merry Christmas, and we look forward to talking with you again.
All right. Well, thank you very much, too. It's great to be here. I'm really here.
At the station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the CBS portion of the event. Please stand by for a voice check from CNN.
Copy that.
Excellent. Carol Costello is your anchor. Carol, she'll say hello now. We're in a commercial break. We'll be live in about a minute.
I copy that.
Kevin,
Copy
hi.
Carol.
Do you hear me? Oh.
Hello.
Do you hear me?
I do. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. We were a little afraid that we wouldn't, but we're so glad to have you. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, you're welcome. Am I speaking to Carol already?
Yes, but we're not on the air quite yet. We have another minute or so, and we'll be live on the air. So stand by, and thanks so much.
Okay, happy to stand by. You should take a break during those commercials.
30 seconds.
About 20 seconds back from break. All right, here we go.
How would you like to have a view like this out of your window? Isn't that beautiful? It's a nighttime image of Earth. See North America in the upper left corner of your screen? Isn't that cool? Pictures actually composite of images received by a satellite from April and October. Kevin Ford doesn't have to wait for NASA to release pictures like that. He sees views from space every day. Kevin is the Expedition 34 commander of the International Space Station. And just a warning before we start speaking, Kevin, I just want to tell our viewers it's about an 8-second delay because we're transmitting a long way this morning. So is it morning or night up there, Kevin?
It's already afternoon on board the space station, and we've already done almost what feels to me like a full day's work, but I have a little bit more work after the interview right now. So right now, we're in a night pass. We're in the northern hemisphere right now, out over the Pacific Ocean, and it's dark outside right now, but we'll be in light in just a matter of about 10 minutes.
I was just going to ask you that. How can you tell the difference between night and day? Because, in my mind, it's always dark up there.
Well, the space is dark, but of course, when we're on the sun side of the Earth, we're in full illumination, and we have all the reflection of the Earth below us, the beautiful blue Earth, and we're in the daylight. Only when we're on the back side, on the sun opposite, the side opposite the sun, it seems just like night to us too. But we go around the Earth once every 90 minutes, so about half of that on average, and we're in the daytime and half at night. Inside the Destiny module right here in the lab, I can't really tell. There's a window below me, but there's equipment in it and it's covered up, so I can't see out of it at the moment. We do have some other windows around Space Station, and anytime I float by a window, I can tell if it's outside is lit or if it's dark outside. But when we're working, it's just day for us with the lights on inside.
I know I should ask you about your research, but I really want to know, what is the coolest thing you have seen up there?
Well, the coolest thing I've seen so far, in terms of like me being an astronaut and seeing something unusual, was the rendezvous, the docking of a Progress spaceship. We also saw it launch out of Kazakhstan right behind us. It rendezvoused with us the same day, so it was very close to us when it launched. And we could see the smoke trail come up all the way into space to our altitude, which was really a remarkable thing to get to see, and it's rare. And the other thing was the night my colleagues, Sunny Williams, Aki Oside, and Yuri Malinchiko undocked a few weeks ago. They did their burn and they entered the atmosphere right below us in the nighttime. And I got to see their spaceship. It comes apart by design into 3 pieces, and I got to see the pieces that were supposed to burn up and trail behind them, and their little spacecraft zoom out in front. But that all kind of competes with just the average everyday view of the Earth, which is spectacular whenever you fly over anything, the Amazon, the Rocky Mountains, the Northeast, whatever it is, just to see those beautiful things out there. I saw Typhoon Bofa the other day. It's just amazing to see the Earth and its glory down there.
So the Scott Kelly, I know he's training for a bit before he goes up to the International Space Station, but did you hear that he's going to be there for a year? I don't know how long your tenure is in the International Space Station, but can you imagine staying up there for 1 entire year?
Yes, I can. And actually, when we come up, we generally come up here for 5 to 6 month expeditions, and mine will be just a little less than 5 if we go home one time, March 15th. But I've mentioned to my cosmonaut colleagues, hey, be prepared. You know, something might happen, a technical problem, any kind of thing might happen, and we may stay here longer. We could get a very long stay. You just never know in space flight. It really depends on the health of the vehicles and the program management and all that sort of thing. So there's a little uncertainty involved. But 5 months, you're mentally prepared for that. I know Scott and Misha Konyenko, when they come, they'll be mentally prepared for the full year, and they'll set out and they'll do a great job. The exercise equipment is good. I sleep wonderful. The work is very satisfying and fun. So I would love to do it too. Congratulations to both of them. It will be challenging, but I think they're up for it.
Okay, before you go, could you do a backflip for me? Because I've always wanted to see that, the real thing in space. The real thing in space.
Are we all done already? I can't hardly believe that.
Oh, I love that. We'll be right back.
I was a little off on my
Thanks so
vector
much.
there. You're welcome.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.